You're watching Rosie Plumbob. Enjoy!
Soul, welcome to my first YouTube video. Here is a little sim that I made. I think she's so pretty. She's a little fairy sim. Everyone is buzzing about fairies right now after this teaser came out that pretty much confirmed we're getting fairies. This is just from the Spooky Stuff costume pack though, but I thought it was really fun. And I decided to build a fairy cottage on this lot, Princess Cordelia's Secret Cottage in the Cottage Living expansion pack. So here is kind of my inspiration board that I was pulling from. I got these from Pinterest and just Google. And the ones on the far right-hand side are actually from Descendants, I think, which I haven't seen or know that much about. So if anyone is into that and recognize that cottage, let me know. So I knew that I wanted one of those little octagonal, I don't know, fairy tower things, and I was just messing around with the layout here, which I am not good at making a layout at all. It's one of my biggest struggles in The Sims, especially if I'm not copying a layout. Like sometimes I'll go find architectural blueprints to kind of give me a guideline, but this I wanted to try and do it more from my imagination for the interior. So yeah, you'll see that I kind of go back and forth on stuff a lot, and the inside is a little bit weird, but in my mind this is something that is, you know, hundreds of years old. They didn't really have a strict architectural plan, they just slapped together what they had. And here you can see where this little bump out, I wanted to have it floating rather than being a pure tower off of the ground. And that was something that I struggled with throughout the build. It did cause me issues, this floating thing that I was trying to do. And also the way I built this with just a bunch of rooms stuck together caused some issues in the build because there weren't, you know, clearly defined spaces. So definitely next time I'll have to fix that when I'm building. Normally it's not going on YouTube, so there's less pressure on it. For this part, I thought that the stucco and wood was way too uniform, so I tried to make it kind of random and have that, you know, thrown together style that was in that cottage that maybe, you know, over time they've had to do repairs. It's not 100% perfect and uniform, or when they were building it, maybe they didn't have, you know, enough materials to make those perfect designs on all of them. Here, I went into debug to try and find something to be the base of this, and I put on the screen how you can get into debug, or you can use Twisted Mexie's Better Build By mod. This is my first time using it actually on this build, and it is a game changer. This is only available if you have a computer, not if you're on console, which sucks, but super handy. So I found these, I don't even really know what they are, like columns or something, and I decided to use it for the fireplace chimney and for under the tower, and I think it looks so cute. These were super annoying though, since they're debug. It was like clipping. I don't know if that's because it's debug, that's just because of how I alt placed it, but yeah. It comes into the inside of the house. I have to redo it a bunch, but I think it's so cute. It was worth it. So here I am starting on the front entryway, and I wanted this place to feel super cluttered, lived in, like it's been around for a million years, and this fairy has just been accumulating things. You know, I had to put the mushroom chair since she's a fairy, and, you know, lots of plants. That's kind of the theme for this place. She is a plant girl. Yeah, and I added some little stuff on the wall, little gallery wall, and I put this upstairs area. I realized from the way the front overhangs, I didn't know what to do with that area. It is kind of a weird spot. Anyways, so here you can see where this is clipping into the building, and I was trying to figure out a solution for this. I picked this fireplace that I think is cute. I don't think it really fit the vibe of the build, so I do end up changing it out later. And I was just trying to figure out anything that I could do to cover these things up, and it's clipping into where the wood was, so I put some extra wood on there. I was just really didn't know how to make this look good, and it wasn't fitting the vibes of what I wanted at all. So I was like, let me just put in some placeholder furniture and try to figure out how I want this space to be laid out. and go into the kitchen. You know, just forget that mess in the living room. We'll make a cute kitchen and it will all be fine. I started out with the cottage living cabinets, but I ended up going with, I think these are the ones from Vampires, and I liked it. I don't really use those cabinets ever, so it was fun to get to use them, and I love these little dormers that match the roof. Really cute. And just adding some windows. As you can see in the front, the plants all look gross and dead because I started this stave in the spring. So I actually went into live mode and lived for a whole season while the house was a hot mess, and came back and finished building it. Because when I get to the landscaping part, I really wanted it to look fresh. Okay, the kitchen looks like a hot mess. I was just grabbing things that I thought I might want in the build and holding on to them, and then I could arrange them later. So that's why it's like a bomb went off in there. And yeah, plants everywhere, clutter everywhere, really the vibe. You can see how I'm placing stuff. If you don't know how to do this, I didn't know how to do this when I first started playing, and I had to watch YouTube videos. If you hold down the Option key or the Alt key on Windows, you can place things not on the grid, and you can do this trick where you put something on a surface and move it away, and then Alt place it to where you want it, and then put the surface back. And that's how I do a lot of the stuff on kitchen cabinets. Yeah, here you can see I had to move this. It was too much clipping into the building, and I couldn't deal with it. It was making it ugly. So once I did that, and I got the kitchen looking a little bit cuter, this gave me some momentum again. You can see how, like I was saying, the rooms being all kinds of shapes thrown together was an issue, but I put the kitchen and the fireplace up on these platforms, and when I did that, that messed up all these bookshelves. It messed up the whole fireplace area, but I think it was good because I came up with something that I liked a lot more in the end. But this wallpaper that I had going, I was trying to find something floral. It wasn't working for me, and I decided to go with the stucco walls and start getting some decorations in now that it's looking a little bit better. Figuring out the layout. This is where I changed the fireplace, because that fireplace to me was not the vibe. I wanted something with the stone that matched the exterior, so I just put it on the wall behind this other fireplace and kind of pretended that was built off of it. And I thought that I could do this thing with the werewolf columns on the inside because the other wallpaper was too busy. This to me looked a lot better and more rustic, but in the end I had to take the columns out because it just made it too hard to put my wall art up. It would clip through the columns since they're actually 3D. So yeah, I went in and I thought, it's a fairy. She can have plants literally growing out of the house. Why not? This isn't, she doesn't have to worry about paying for insurance or whatever. She can just have live plants growing out of the floor and vines on the wall, whatever. And I add those in a couple other places. And yeah, I just added some cute little clutter, wall art. Yeah, this is where I had to delete the columns because it just was too much. And I went for a warmer color. This actually doesn't match what's outside, but I thought inside it's there's candles lighting it. I wanted it to feel very warm and cozy, so it does not match up. And here's another hack, like I was saying, where you can put something on a shelf. This shelf for the bathroom can hold most things on it, and so you can drag them over. And then look how cute it is. I put all these little plants. And that thing in the middle of the mantle is from Vampires. I don't think I've ever used that before, but I thought it was kind of cute and weird. And, fairies aren't all light and happy. Sometimes they're a little bit evil. And here's the finished entryway as well. Very cute and cluttered. I put some little cobwebs and things. And yeah, I added those vines in here as well. And then I figured I need to carry them onto the outside. And here is the downstairs half bathroom. As with literally every other thing in this build, I didn't know what I was doing and struggled and went back and forth a lot. But I feel like that's realistic for most people who are building in The Sims. It's kind of hard, and I didn't want to cut out all the parts where I was struggling and did something and deleted it. mainly because there wouldn't be a video, but also I just feel like that's realistic to me building, and I'm sure other people kind of struggle with that. So yeah, this bathroom, I was trying to decorate it, but it was so huge. Like, there's just a space on both sides from it being 2 tiles wide, where it was like nothing I was doing made it fill the space properly. So I was like, let's get a curtain. I don't know. I was trying to treat the symptom and not the cause. So finally, I just had to shrink it and deal with the fallout from the outside. And I think this little cozy space made it look better. I put a little, bucket on the floor, the plunger, just a bunch of very lived in stuff. And I realized I needed to put some rugs in the kitchen, so I went into that. I added the ivy into the bathroom. It's kind of in every room. I love it. And I put this flower from the flower arranging table that's a live edit object or debug, or one of the two. And I figured, like, the fairy, she grows all these plants, she probably made that bouquet herself. So now for this cursed upstairs bump out thing. I've actually seen a lot of houses in real life that do have something like this in the entryway, so it wasn't that weird to me, but I didn't know what to put up here, especially for a fairy. So I thought, she's got all that storage downstairs, I can put some just mess up here. She's thrown that over there, doesn't really care about it. Crystals, a sword, different magical feeling objects that she's accumulated over the years and doesn't have a place for, so she just throws them on this ledge. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I love junky things like that in Sims builds. So now for the bedroom. I was torn between these 2 beds, and I ended up going with this cottage living bed. I think I use it in every build that I make, literally. So I just love this bed, and we need more beds like this that are cute and girly and whimsical and don't look super dated, but could go for any time period. So I was getting the nightstands, junking them up, putting little things on them, and I added some fairy lights because, of course, she's a fairy. Candles, little cutesy girly things. At this room, I wanted to have more pink and more colorful personality in it because this is her personal space as opposed to the living room. Maybe she would make her whole space pink, but I kind of wanted to make it more, this room is where it gets the pink stuff. So we've got that werewolf's mirror that's so cute, this pink mirror that's from Get Famous, the mushroom stool, again, the other one, and a little crochet kit. Maybe she does that to calm down in the evenings. And just plants everywhere. Oh, this wand. I got this wand from Werewolves, and I thought it was so perfect because fairy wand, hello. I found some more clutter in debug while I was doing the upstairs that I thought, maybe I'll throw this stuff downstairs. And I did not like those flowers on that table, so I took them off and tried to find something else. This shelf on the wall from Werewolves, I wanted to use that so bad. I couldn't find a place for it. It was in every room of the house, and I kept deleting it. And if you saw, I put some garlic from vampires in the kitchen because, she maybe grows garlic to eat, not to necessarily keep vampires away. And yeah, this upstairs landing area, I didn't really know what to put, so I was like, yeah, I'll come back, I'll focus on it later. And the bathroom, again, another struggle. I didn't know what I wanted to do with this build. I don't really do this kind of cottagey country style very often, so I wasn't sure, do I make this not historically accurate because it's The Sims, there's no history, but kind of fit the aesthetic of the outside that's this super dated thing when, like, did they even have indoor plumbing? I don't know. I don't know how to make things that aren't, like they were built in the past 20 to 30 years. So I was Googling pictures of, like, when was the first bath and looking at ancient Roman baths, and that's kind of where I came up with this. It's just so random, but I kind of like how it came out with this kind of terracotta tile work and the arches in the wall. Like, I haven't really done anything like that before, so I thought those arches were cool, and it is fully functional. The sim will only walk through the middle arch, because maybe the other one, but I only saw her walk through the middle arch. And again, every time I go into the clutter, I find more clutter. I found these plants that I hadn't used anywhere in the build yet from the Blooming Gardens kit. And I was like, oh, these have to go everywhere now to be some more diversity, because I was kind of repeating plants everywhere. And yeah, then I was looking for trim for this upstairs to kind of hide that white. And now this landing area, I had procrastinated, and I was still procrastinating on it. In the bathroom, I ended up putting these curtains on. I thought they were really cool. I don't know if I like how this bathroom looks in terms of would I have it in my own house, but I think it turned out cool for this build. Little candles on the floor. This is her sanctuary. So up here, at first I thought maybe I can do a sitting area, but the thing is, like, the Sims won't use this. They're not going to come up here and hang out and have a chat. It's just going to be a dead, empty space. And so then I thought maybe I could make it an office. So you'll see in a little bit. Yeah, I delete that. I put in a desk with the little typewriter computer from Cottage Living. And I kept it kind of simple on her desk. I put some fairy things, a crystal, a scroll, an old-timey phone. Like, maybe she has some technology, but she's not fully caught up on technology. And this, I didn't know what to do. I don't have the magic spellcaster pack. I can't remember what it's called. So I probably would have put a cauldron or something from there in this room, but I don't have any of that. So I made it so she could do paintings and basic skill building things. And with that, it was finally time to get to the outside. And like I showed before, that picture of the Tangled castle tower thing, I wanted this to look like that. This thing wasn't evenly shaped, so it was kind of hard to line up the greenery to it, but I think the way it's kind of clipping in and out makes it look really cool and irregular. I struggle with when I'm using these vines to make them not just look like the same thing copied and pasted 1,000 times. So here, having them clip in and out, it gave these different shapes and irregularity that I really like. So then I started landscaping the whole place, and I wanted this to be a magical flower plant explosion. Like, this place has been here for hundreds of years, and it's been flourishing, overgrown, but in a magical way, not in a gross abandoned way. So I put this arch out in the front. I was trying to find some kind of fence or something, but they all looked too perfect and in good shape. So later I went back and added some broken down fences from Debug, these ones, and I thought that looked good. That was the style that I wanted, very, ancient in a way. So here I stopped recording because I didn't know what I wanted to do with the outside, and I wanted to figure it out off camera. So I put space for a greenhouse, some planting area. I found some trees and kind of got a base so that I could fill it in, but I changed it so many times I didn't want to show all that. So I took a couple of different plants and just kind of layered them everywhere so that it would look kind of uniform. The low-lying pale yellow flowers, or whatever they're called. I think they're called Diddy Daisies, maybe. And a couple of other plants, like a fern, this thing from Werewolves that I love using, and mushrooms, and just layered it up, piled it up on top of each other, and went, in my opinion, crazy with it, because I don't normally do stuff like this, but I see a lot of simmers that do, and I feel like this would be normal for them, but I like how it turned out. And then the back patio area, I didn't really know what to put here. I feel like that's the tagline of this video. I didn't really know what to put here. So I just made this little living area. I gave her a grill and a telescope. I put these planters here, but I really wanted, when she is planting, because I do want to play on this a lot, it's all taking place out in the greenhouse and that space over in the side yard. So I just put some fake plants in there to make it not playable. And yeah, here you can really see this landscaping technique where I lay down all of one, I lay down all of another, I add another plant, and just build it up until it looks really overgrown and beautiful. And once I had the landscaping done around the house, I raised the house up on a platform. That is a big life hack. that I've discovered, because when you already have the house on a platform, when you put the plants next to it, they want to go jump up on that platform if they get close to the house. And so doing it this way makes it a lot easier. And I did the same landscaping to make a little path out to the front. What I didn't realize when I raised the house up is that actually was going to cause some issues with those pillar things, because those don't go up on a platform, right? They're not a real object. But I didn't realize that until later. And for the greenhouse, that was a struggle for me. I found this window and got sidetracked by it, but I didn't really know what style I wanted. These ones I liked because they felt very old-timey, but at the same time they felt too modern. They felt like 1800s, and I wanted this cottage to be way older than that. And all the windows were really modern. They looked not the right vibes. So I found these, not windows, holes in the wall from cats and dogs, and I thought that was a really interesting look. I've never used those either, and it won't be as effective as a 21st century greenhouse, but it's also The Sims. It doesn't really matter. As long as there's a roof, they'll grow in any season. So I thought that this was a cool kind of midway between a greenhouse and maybe a kind of gazebo type of thing. So I landscaped around that. I landscaped all around. And then in here, I did want to put some different pots and flower beds, but I've made the issue before of putting the pots and everything too close together where your sim can't get to them to water them. So these, I think they can walk around and actually get to all of it. And then I super cluttered it up. I wanted this central work table to be just like, she's been cluttering it this whole time for forever. And the same thing with, the little plants, the indoor plants that aren't real. I put them in there. And yeah, here you can see this got messed up. I had to fix it. And so I just stacked two of them on top of each other, which then that messed up my plants. So I put some rocks in on the bottom to kind of hide it up. And some of the rocks in Debug are so giant, which is cool, but I feel like we need some more medium-sized rocks. But I just came in with the plants, added some more, covered it up. Plants are the band-aids of the sim. You can just hide anything with plants. And now time for the terrain paint, because I was mostly done. I use a really feathered brush, and for paths and stuff, I'll go back and do kind of an outline. I see a lot of Sims YouTubers do that, and I got that tip, and it looks really good. And then just adding some dirt under all the plants. Since it's so shady, the grass probably wouldn't be able to grow underneath all that. And I added another path coming up from this backyard area or back patio area into the yard. Did that same outline technique. And then I at first was thinking maybe I could do a different ground under this garden area, or maybe put a fence around it. It wasn't the vibe. I wasn't living for it, and I deleted all of it and just did a normal dirt kind of thing on the ground. And I think the reason this felt so bare is because there were no plants in it. But once I start playing in this save and add in all the plants, get it looking more lively, I think this area will look really busy. I could have gone into Debug and grabbed some for this video, but I wanted to play in it. I didn't want to cheat and do that since I was going to actually play in it. But I made this cute little sitting area over here with the Romantic Gardens arch. Or is that what it's called? Romantic Gardens? I don't know. I really like that pack. It has really cute stuff, so I added another sculpture from it. And this was the mostly finished build. It was looking really good. I still had to go in and play test and make sure that it actually worked. And when I was looking at it, I realized this front porch was sad. So I just added a little bench. I added a wind chime, and I went and added this bird feeder too, since I feel like fairies really like animals and plants. And this werewolf mailbox, which I think is so cute. So here was after playtesting. I realized this thing that I had on the mantle was a fountain, and it was spraying water everywhere. And the clipping from this was still too much, so I fixed it and moved it even more out of the wall. You can see that my fairy sim is going to the bathroom because I wanted to make sure everything actually worked before I started playing. And she's sad because she didn't do her, I think, love day, some holiday. I canceled it, and so she's upset. And I was also want to make sure these skill building things worked. And I realized she was routing not going down that hallway, and it was because that hanging plant, I just ended up deleting it. I thought it was cute, but at the end of the day, if the sim can't walk past it, then, you know, the hallway is only one tile wide. And then for some reason she wouldn't do the bonsai tree thing. She would paint. I ended up being able to get her to do the bonsai tree thing, and it worked. And I didn't realize, I think trippings from that go on the ground. That ended up in the walkthrough. But yeah, here's my final walkthrough. I think it's so cute. The front entryway here, little wind chimes outside the door, you know, clutter everywhere, plants and junk from over the years, a couple cobwebs, this little sitting area by the front door I thought was so cute. I love this free coat rack thing that they gave us with that Pride update. I've been using that in almost every build. And the living room, I mean, this to me is so cozy and comfortable. I wish I could have plants like this in my real life house, but I kill them and I travel a lot, so they just kind of die when I'm gone. But it looks really good in The Sims, and they can't die. And I love this little herb table. It just looks like someone would make a potion or something on there. I love it. The little half bathroom came out really cute. I love the ivy on the wall to keep bringing the plants into there. And those little plants on the wall in the kitchen, I thought could be like herbs or something that she's growing for her cooking, you know. So this is the upstairs now. And, you know, you can see my little junk area that I made for her. And here's this hallway, pretty simple, just a couple of plants. And then the bedroom, where we get back into our cluttered, crazy mess with all of our plants everywhere. And I think it looks cute though. I would love to live somewhere like this. The finished bathroom, she's got candles, she can relax, take a bubble bath, you know, just enjoy her fairy life that she's got going on. I had to turn that shower, and I don't really like it pointing towards the bathroom, but it is what it is. The whole bathroom's tile, so I guess it's all a wet room. And yeah, her little office area, and then the secret bookshelf with these trimmings.
You know what? What was that?
I didn't realize those would be there from the bonsai tree, so that was my mess up. And then our little backyard hangout area, you know, she's got a drink tray, she can have a grill party, get hit by a meteorite, you know, just girly things. And she also has a beekeeper's box over there. I try to put really all the interactive outdoorsy things, you know, other than just having a sitting area, which they won't use that much. So you can see here this really cluttered up room, but then all of the planter boxes ready for her to fill up. And I did add a little rabbit hole over there. Rabbits will naturally come to this lot on their own, but I just thought for a fairy she would have one. And that is basically the whole build. Thank you so much for watching. This is my first ever time recording or making a video or doing any of this. So if you stuck through to the end, I really appreciate it. I am hopefully going to be doing this with some sort of regularity. So if you liked this, please like and subscribe. Let me know down below if you have any building tips for me, since this was a little bit of a mess. And if there's anything else that you would like to see me build or making casts, yeah, feel free to comment and I'd be happy to try out anyone's suggestions. Okay, bye!